The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Frattolin's 911 call, he allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area where she was later discovered by law enforcement.
A 9-year-old Canadian girl vanishes during a custody trip in upstate New York. Her dad claiming she was snatched by a white van, but her body's found hours later in a shallow pond. And now he's charged with murder. It all started on July 19th, 2025. 9-year-old Melina Frattolin and her father, Luciano Frattolin, were wrapping up a 10-day vacation across New York and Connecticut. They're from Montreal, where Luciano, a 45-year-old coffee entrepreneur, runs Gambella Coffee, an organic brand tied to his Ethiopian Italian roots. He was set to fly Melina back to her mom, Eva, who's had full custody since their 2019 split. At 5:30 p.m., surveillance catches them at a Saratoga Springs restaurant looking happy. An hour later, Melina calls her mom, sounding fine, saying they're heading back to Canada. But around 9:58 a.m., Luciano dials 911, claiming Melina was abducted near Interstate 87's exit 22 in Lake George. He says he stopped to pee in the woods, turned around and saw a suspicious white van speeding off with his daughter. Later, he changes his story, claiming 2 men forced her into the van. Police issued an Amber Alert, warning Melina's in imminent danger, and launch a massive search with canine units, drones, and rangers. But the story unravels fast. By Sunday, July 20th, New York State Police find Melina's body in a shallow pond near Ticonderoga, 45 miles south of Lake George, hidden under a log in a remote stretch near Vermont's border. Investigators spot inconsistencies in Luciano's account, and technology, maybe phone data or GPS, leads them to Ticonderoga. A state police officer at a press conference revealed he fabricated the initial report of the abduction.
On Saturday, July 19th, 2025, at approximately 10 o'clock p.m., Warren County 911 received a call from a man reporting his 9-year-old daughter missing with a possible abduction in the area of exit 22 of I-87 Northway in Lake George. The child was identified as Melina Frattolin, age 9, and the caller as her father, Luciano Frattolin, age 45. The New York State Police and Warren County Sheriff's Office immediately responded to the area of exit 22 of the Northway and initiated an investigation and attempt to locate Melina. On Sunday, July 20th, a search detail comprised of officers from multiple agencies conducted an organized search in the town of Ticonderoga, New York. In an area Mr. Frattolin was suspected of having visited. During that search detail, at approximately 10:50, members of the New York State Police Forest Rangers located Melina deceased in the shallow portion of a pond. This investigation has revealed that on July 11th, 2025, Mr. Frattolin and Melina, both residents of Montreal, Quebec, legally entered the United States for the purpose of a vacation. They were expected to return to Canada on Sunday, July 20th, at which time Melina would be returned to the custody of her mother in Montreal. The mother and Mr. Frattolin had been estranged since 2019. The child resided full-time with her mother, and Frattolin visited with the child when in Canada. At about 5:30 p.m. on July 20th, Melina is observed with her father on video surveillance in Saratoga Springs, New York. At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. The child appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she was under any duress. The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Frattolin's 911 call, he allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area where she was later discovered by law enforcement. Initial reports from Mr. Frattolin of a suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue. The suspect has been charged with murder in the second degree and concealment of a human corpse. He was then transported to the Essex County Correctional Facility where he was held pending arraignment. The suspect is scheduled to be at Ticonderoga Town Court this morning for arraignment. Melina's cause of death is pending the results of an autopsy, which is scheduled for later today.
Luciano is charged with second-degree murder and concealment of a corpse, booked into Essex County Jail at 2:04 a.m. Monday. He's hauled into Ticonderoga Town Court that afternoon, looking scruffy in a white Tyvek jumpsuit, hands cuffed, staying silent as cameras swarm. He pleads not guilty, but the timeline's chilling. Police say he killed Melina sometime after her 6:30 p.m. call to her mom and before his 911 call, dumping her body in that pond. What's downright creepy is that Luciano's Gambella Coffee website biography calls Melina the light of his life and his inspiration, saying he fights for a more equitable world, so she won't face the injustices he did growing up between Ethiopian coffee fields and his dad's Milano. He gushes about loving her messy art projects and chaotic ensemble of toys, despite his obsession with a meticulously spotless home. Yet, police say he had no criminal history and her mom had no worries about him taking Melina to this trip. The motive's a mystery, but the timing, right before returning her to her mom, screams something sinister, maybe a custody dispute gone deadly. An autopsy is pending, but no cause of death has been shared. The weirdest detail to me is that Luciano's bio paints him as a worldly entrepreneur, blending his Ethiopian-Italian heritage, yet he's now in shackles, accused of staging a kidnapping to cover up his daughter's murder. This case feels like a gut punch, and I can't shake the sense that there's more to it. Luciano's polished image as a coffee founder clashes hard with the accusation he killed his own daughter, and that white van story smells like a desperate lie. The fact he changed his story from a suspicious van to two men forcing Melina away suggests he was scrambling to cover his tracks. The timing, right before handing her back to her mom, points to something personal, maybe a grudge or fear of losing control. That Gambella bio calling Melina his inspiration feels like a twisted mask now, especially with her body hidden under a log in a remote pond. I think this wasn't a random act, but a planned move gone horribly wrong, and I'm betting the autopsy or phone data will reveal a darker motive tied to his custody battle. If you want to stay up to date on this developing story, please make sure you subscribe and like this video to help the algorithm, and leave a comment because I read every single one. Bye guys.